All right, so for the dynamical systems theory, it dates well back over 100 years, the kind of ideas and theories behind it. But the people that were able to make something concrete and introduce the actual theory was Kugler, Kessel, and Truve in 1980. And it was proposed to view a movement that would set the cause for totally new conception of motor skill performance and acquisitions. In this theory, there's four main things that are really important, and that's the constraints, the self organization, the degrees of freedom, stability, and parameters. So I guess that's five. Uh, and with that, the constraints, it's the definition is limiting or setting boundaries for the system can be used on the organism, on the environment, or on the task at hand. So the importance is that constraints are going to be the thing that forces the person into that position to achieve mastery in the movement. With the examples, the organism as a strength coach, we like to use these 3D straps. Basically, it's Kevlar kind of material that you can strap to your shoulder, your hip, pretty much any joint in your body. You spin around it and you attach it to a cable machine. And this is gonna the weight is gonna pull you into that position that we're trying to achieve in the weight room that would get you to be able to achieve it on the field. For the environment, you could have physical or sociological factors. So you're being placed in high stress situations, and also with the socioculture, it's like families, environments, that kind of thing. So like if you're placed in a family that is really into sports, you're going to feel a greater pressure with that constraint to be good at sports. And then the task at hand is, jumping to dunk a basketball versus jumping to get over something small, like a small fence. If you're going to jump a basketball, you're going to have a lot more intent behind it. Where if you're jumping over something small, you're just going to try and achieve where you're going to safely jump over that fence. Self organization, it's the process that gives rise to the organized action. And it's important because the body and brain will organize all of the simple small tasks together to make one complex happen at once. So like being able to hit a baseball, there's a ton of different movements that you have to do. You have to rotate your hips, you have to see the pitch, you have to recognize the pitch. Your brain has to make you swing. But if you do all those in one, like if you have to individually do every single motion that it does to hit a baseball, you're never going to be able to do it, because by the time you think about all that, the catcher's already going to be throwing the ball back to the pitcher. So it's being able to get all of those actions in one, making that complex action into something simple. Then we got degrees of freedom. This is multiple ways for humans to perform a movement to achieve the same goal. This is really important because everybody's different in the human body. Everybody learns a different way. Everybody sees different things. Everybody achieves different movements by doing different things. And it's really important because, like, I think the one way that this has kind of let us down is the U.S. education system kind of made people like you have to fit this mold. Like if you can't learn this way, you're not smart. Where really, you have to be able to figure out how the child needs to learn, and then through that they're going to be more successful. So like as a strength coach, I learned a lot different than most kids. So I really try and understand the person, understand who they are, what makes them tick. And then once I figure that out, I'm able to achieve showing them or telling them the action and relating it to their sport to make them understand why we're doing it and how they can achieve it. Uh, Another example of that is throwing a baseball. Some guys have a high arm slot, medium arm slot, or they're down low. There's 1,000 ways to throw a baseball, and if you just try and make everybody cookie cutter, they're not going to be as successful. Stability. This is the ability for the system to reorganize itself after disturbance. It's important because it ensures safety and being able to refocus at the task at hand by making necessary adjustments. An example of this would just be slipping on something wet, and instead of falling face first, your body's able to reorganize itself and make you be able to keep walking without any disturbance. And then a parameter. There are the features that can be found in the specific movement. Importance, it gives us the measurable data points that we can use to see and analyze for progress in the movement. Example of this that Kelser, I believe, talks about is time and distance measurements in infants walking. So they would have infants walk, they had a certain time, and then they analyze it based off how far they were able to get. This shows that is really good because it can you can track growth. You can see how they were at a year versus 2 years. And then I found a really interesting article that Esther Thielen wrote, and they write that they believe that the human life is so random and chaotic that it's hard to know exactly what will work best for a human's development. This is because every human body is unique and have unique and extraordinary complex nervous systems and unique day-by-day experience filled with chance events. The course to develop is nearly impossible to predict. So with the other system that we were learning about, it was really linear, and it really something had to happen, and then you had to do it, and then based off doing that, you found out the result. Where I don't believe that the body works like that. Every human has a different experience in their life because of how they grew up, the difficulties they face. Maybe they have learning disabilities, they have other challenges, maybe physical disabilities, and through that, we're going to know that you need to have all these things in it in order for the human to be successful in learning all these different movements and skill acquisition. And to paraphrase that, the aspect of constraints, self-organization, degrees of freedom, stability, and parameters that the dynamical system provides, it gives us a good outline to provide the child to develop the best way their body knows how. Again, that's just giving the child all these different resources, all these different ways to be able to develop. If you make a cookie cutter program to have people learn things, it's going to be a factory. They're all going to be the same, and they're not going to be as successful. I think with the dynamical system, imagination limits this. There is no limit because of the amount of ways that we can focus the development on the child, on their personality, and being specific to them. Thank you.